Carrington, the FBI believe the driver of the truck wasn't the only person involved in this attack, and we've just heard that there are a number of other people that are likely being investigated.
Yeah, there's different reporting on that particular issue about whether or not they have now potentially been ruled out as being involved, but this is a very quick-moving investigation. Obviously, multi-agency, both the FBI, well, the FBI is leading the investigation, but you've got local law enforcement, as well as state law enforcement and federal agents all involved in this. It did appear that perhaps there were some leads suggesting that other people might have been involved, potentially in placing these homemade bombs, what they call improvised explosive devices, around the scene where this carnage took place on Bourbon Street in the French Quarter in New Orleans. But it is, at this point, hard to get a read of exactly how likely it is that people were involved in actually carrying out the attack. But the FBI has been very clear that they do believe there are accomplices in some capacity, whether or not that might be the planning or not. We had a briefing with a lot of the agents involved in this investigation a little earlier, and this is the way they phrased it when they spoke about the fact that they do believe others were involved.
We're aggressively running down all of the leads to identify the possible subject's associates. We're working to ensure that there is no further threat. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We're aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates. That's why we need the public's help.
But the state of play at the moment is that they only have this one suspected terrorist, Shamsud Din Jabbar, who has been killed at the scene after being involved in that gunfight with police officers. But the investigations are not only occurring in Louisiana, in New Orleans, but also in Texas, where they believe he was most recently living. And they are trying to work through his backstory. He is an American military veteran, but more recently involved in real estate. And obviously, key evidence at this point is the flag of the Islamic State, that terrorist organization, as well as the homemade bombs that were both in the pickup truck, but also placed around New Orleans. At the moment, the police are saying there is no current threat to the public, but given that they do believe there are accomplices, obviously people are very concerned that the threat has not truly passed.
And Carrington, what sort of reaction have we seen from political leaders there in the US?
Well, we heard from President Joe Biden. He was asked a few questions when he was traveling between locations and said he was angry, and then said that he's continuing to be updated by law enforcement and his senior staff. The president-elect, Donald Trump, who will be taking over the reins of power in just a couple of weeks, was very quickly out with a statement on his social media platform, Truth Social, where he seemed to draw a direct line between immigration and this particular attack. Now, we wait to see. There were a huge amount of details in that post to social media, but we do know that obviously as president-elect he's receiving regular updates as well, and Donald Trump, when he was in power, did put a ban on some majority Muslim countries, and it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do politically about this particular attack. We've also heard from lots of local politicians in New Orleans. On one hand, people are saying we shouldn't be pointing fingers and people should be working together, but we also did see evidence of differing opinions about how this should be framed and what the appropriate response should be.
Meanwhile, Carrington, the explosion of a Tesla electric truck in Las Vegas is being investigated as a potential act of terror. What do we know about that separate incident?
Yeah, so this was a Tesla Cybertruck that exploded at the Trump Hotel, Trump building in Las Vegas, so well away from New Orleans. It is at this point unclear whether or not there is a direct connection between them. However, we have heard from the CEO of Tesla, that's Elon Musk, who has also in recent times become a close confidant of Donald Trump. Now, he released to the platform X, previously called Twitter, a statement saying that he had confirmed that the explosion was caused by very large fireworks and or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck and is unrelated to the vehicle itself. Now, interestingly, there is also the suggestion that that vehicle was also rented through the same company, Turo, that the pickup truck that was used in the suspected terror attack in New Orleans. And so people are working very quickly to see whether or not these two events are linked. At this point, the police have not confirmed that they believe there is a direct link, but they are investigating it as a potential terror attack. So that's one that we'll be watching over the coming hours.
Indeed, Carrington Clark there reporting from Washington, DC.